This is the infamous AutoFlex golf shaft, and they come with a hefty price tag. But the question is, can I make something that behaves and feels like an AutoFlex without spending £700? And what I'm talking about is a mystery shaft that might just do the trick. It costs considerably less money. It's something that you might be able to buy secondhand on eBay, get the adapter changed so it fits your driver, and if it doesn't work, sell it for similar money. Not the AutoFlex, the mystery shaft. So the thing with the AutoFlex is it feels like it's got a bit more bow, bend and release, a bit more activity in the shaft. And what they recommend is building this shaft in a very specific way. We're looking for a specific swing weight, so if there's too much weight this end, it will make the shaft bend and deflect more. If we have the shaft too light, then you lose the sort of mass that gets into the balls. So we don't have the same mass on the end if it's weighted too lightly. So I did pull out all the tricks when I was building this shaft to get it into the exact profile that I'm after. D1 swing weight. And there's a spine on every shaft, and we want that spine to be in just the right place. Oh, that comes off the face so quick. So I did something slightly different with this shaft build, is I've put an 8-gram plug in the top of the shaft, so that made the head balance out lighter to get the target swing weight we're after. One other way I could have done that is to reduce the length to make the head feel lighter. If you make it longer, the head then feels heavier. So I chose to put some weight in the top of this golf club so I didn't have to take any mass out of that end. A little bit off the heel, but very nice indeed. What I find with this shaft is because there's a bit more bow and release in the club that helps you get into the ball with a bit more speed. When you've got a cold swing, you don't have to try as hard. You can kind of get near your top end much quicker without warming up. And if you get a little bit too snatchy on the backswing, if you get too quick and happy on the backswing there, you can feel the shaft wobbles. So it almost forces you to have better timing on the backswing before you then load into the ball. So I kind of think of it as an inbuilt training aid. I've absolutely nailed that. So I'm hitting these quite near the centre line, and I've put the centre line to the right hand side because I tend to hit the ball left, and I'm obviously not doing that right now. So I'll take it. And the mystery shaft that I'm talking about is the Project X Cypher 50, and this is a 5.0 flex, so it's technically a senior flex golf shaft. However, sometimes we don't need to worry about the flex. If you hit the target more often and you get the ball further up there, then don't worry about the flex, just use what works. I've got the Cipher Shaft built ever so slightly shorter. I had to do that so I could match the same swing weight because I wanted to get the same characteristics of the shaft compared to the AutoFlex. I have to say, it certainly doesn't look as cool as the AutoFlex, but we're looking at a price tag of £50 online second hand as opposed to £700 for the AutoFlex. That is a big difference. But it certainly feels very similar to the AutoFlex. I can feel that bend and release. I can feel the activity in the shaft in a very similar fashion. Now I've done the same spine alignment and I've done the same swing weight just to keep it nice and consistent. I'm then getting more like the same characteristics. If I just plug it in and go, it might not quite give the same effects. There might be something slightly different about it. So I would recommend a club builder to put this shaft in your driver with your head so they can balance everything up and treat it like an AutoFlex. Ooh, that felt fast. It's getting up there, it's going quite high. It is carrying a very long way. Again, my alignment on this hole wasn't correct. I expected these softer shafts to throw the ball left and they didn't. Rookie mistake. Getting some ball speeds here though, up in the top 160s. It's not spreading as much as I thought it would. The grouping's not too bad. Again, I'm forced into some form of timing because of the nature of the bend profile of the shaft. Now the peak height, the highest point the ball reaches is very similar, 120 against 117. This is the Project X Cypher 50, this is the AutoFlex. I'm actually well impressed with this. Slightly faster on the AutoFlex. Granted, it's a 700 quid shaft, I would expect it to be better. I've got slightly higher launch on the Senior Flex Project X Cypher 50 shaft. Similar spin, actually slightly lower on the Cipher 50, which I like. I've got more carry, but a little bit more spread, so I've got a bit more variance in the carry in comparison. The areas we're looking at is slightly tighter with the Project X Cypher. The AutoFlex actually had a bit more variance, but it isn't that much different. It's not like one ring against another ring. Distance, more carry on the Cipher, very impressive. Finishing distance the same, 328. I'm well impressed with that shaft. In comparison to this AutoFlex, I've almost found this a little bit underwhelming in comparison to that very cheap shaft. But is it because I built that shaft in a very specific way? I treated it in the same way. Is it the treatment that you make on this shaft, or is it the shaft itself? What do you think?